Hello, my name is Bennett Obite.
And I'm Iroro Tanshi, and together we co-founded the Small Mammal Conservation Organization, also known as SMACON.
I am the Director of Conservation Programs, and this entails planning conservation intervention programs and incorporating some of the conservation research that we do at SMACON into these intervention efforts.
I'm also the Director of Research Programs, and that involves studying wild populations to understand how they thrive in their habitat as well as the threats that they face. So at SMACON, what we really do is to gather the evidence first, which then informs intervention efforts.
But we also do policy advocacy and capacity building and strengthening.
What does a threatened small insect-eating bat share with an abundant large fruit-eating bat species? Cross River National Park and Afi Mountain Wildlife Sanctuary are the last remaining primary forests in Nigeria, Africa's oldest forests that drape the majestic mountains of southeastern Nigeria with steep climbs, convoluted cave tunnels, and breathtaking views that leave one with wonder. This is one of the most beautiful places on earth. This forested mountain landscape is also home to the rare endangered short-tailed roundleaf bat and the abundant Egyptian fruit bat. One, a cute round-nosed golf-sized cave-dwelling bat that consumes lots of insects every night. The other, an exuberant, large, dog-faced fruit-eating bat that pollinates and disperses important plant species. These forests not only support bats, but also several other endangered species like gorillas and drill monkeys. A stunning landscape, the last of its kind, yet threatened by habitat loss from intensifying wildfires and illegal logging. For bats, these threats are also exacerbated by bat hunting.
We set up SMACON to address these threats and call attention to the neglect of small mammals by existing conservation programs, which typically are hyper-focused on iconic megafauna. And this signals to local people, and it really does misinform them, that small mammals are open and available to exploitation and thus undeserving of protection.
We are a small NGO registered in Nigeria, and we are focused on deploying evidence-based integrated approaches to protecting small-sized mammals, especially bats. And how do we do this? Our model is set up to, first of all, gather the evidence to characterize threats in their local contexts, which then informs community-specific intervention efforts, which we design and execute collaboratively with local people under a participatory framework.
Our evidence is collected through ecological research conducted by small to medium-sized field crews. We work to establish habitat use by wild bat populations, understand the impacts from threats such as wildfires and cave disturbance, but also the sociological context. What drives human behaviors that threaten wild bat populations? The rare endangered short-tailed roundleaf bat is threatened by habitat loss from increasing wildfires and illegal logging, as well as cave disturbance, primarily from fruit bat hunting. Wildfires originate from farms during the peak of the dry season, when farmers prepare for the new planting season by setting fires to farm brush. Wildfires have intensified under climate change, and so they're getting more and more frequent. But not only do these wildfires threaten forest and bat habitat, they also threaten local livelihoods because wildfires destroy farms first before reaching the forest. So what we're really looking at is a problem that destroys native habitat for endangered species and agricultural land for local people and the economy.
We will now take you into the field to show you a farmer who, like many others, describes how wildfires impact their livelihood. So this is a farmer in a village called Kataba that is at the foot of Afi Mountain Wildlife Sanctuary in southeastern Nigeria. And he goes into details about how wildfires have ravaged his farm and impacting his personal income and general well-being.
This fire will cause poverty, and where there is poverty, there will be hunger. Like me, in my farm, I used to harvest up to 40 bunches of banana. Right from the time fire burned my farm till now, even one bunch I cannot afford for my farm.
We also know that due to their large size, the Egyptian fruit bat is attractive as food for local people. And because they are obligate cave dwellers, they are more vulnerable to capture. For example, this hunter here is setting up to trap bats at a cave. They use an improvised scoop net made from old fishing nets and sticks. In fact, we know that one hunter in a single cave visit can collect over 4,000 bats. With over 50 such visits every year, this intense level of hunting is alarming.
We'll now turn it over to Ini, who is our community engagement and research manager. She's going to talk about some of the initial challenges we have faced and how engaging communities have helped us surmount these challenges.
When we first started working at Afi Mountain, we were up against initial opposition and hesitation. But our data suggested otherwise. It was clear to us from evidence that local people will reverse behavior driving these threats and go on to participate in intervention efforts to protect species habitats and safeguard local livelihood. In other words, we were confident that by working with local people, we can drastically reduce, if not eliminate, forest fire, illegal logging, and bat hunting.
Our first attempt was to get major stakeholders talking, which led to the first ever local law against wildfires with immediate successes. Because 2 years after that, there was zero wildfires, which spurred us to expand the program to other communities and integrate fire prevention predictive models with law enforcement and farmer education. To break it down, what we're really doing is we are employing an early warning system that predicts wildfires, which is used to advise local people on the best time to burn farm brush. We're also training local forest guardians who enforce forest fire advisories and are ready to mount a remote firefighting response in the event of a fire outbreak. So what we're really doing is we're setting up an integrated fire prevention model that prevents wildfires and protects habitats for bats and other species in the area.
And to tackle bat hunting, we are deploying a conservation business approach to provide alternative protein and livelihoods. And of course, this is based on community consensus that arose from multiple engagements. By doing this, what we expect to see is a significant reduction in the demand for bat meat and also a subsequent decrease in bat hunting. This does not only protect the Egyptian fruit bat, it also leads to reduction in cave disturbance, which is a major problem for the short-tailed or round-leaf bat. And we are also reducing zoonotic disease spillover risk.
Some of the other important work that we do at SmartCon include raising capacity through our flagship mentorship program that aims to raise the next generation of biodiversity experts in Nigeria and West Africa. We equip students with critical tools to conduct field surveys, including skills training, equipment, library resources, and matching them with established international mentors who co-supervise their degree projects at their local institutions. We believe that the future of conservation in the tropics depend on homegrown science that guide local action.
To ensure sustainability of our programs and expand our impact, SMACON also engages policymakers to bridge the problematic gap between science, policy, and practice. Our engagement spans development of policy documents and bringing policymakers and practitioners into the field to show how science works. For example, this summer, we were out hiking and batting with a team of policy experts, including Nigeria's Honorable Minister of State for Environment.
We've all come to realize the importance of bats as pollinators and the ecosystem service that the bats provide. And SMACON, Small Mammals Conservation, is doing a tremendous work, but a lot more needs to be done and she needs more hands. I have come out into the field with her and I'm amazed at her passion, the dedication, and the amount of work she puts out going out into the forest at night to track these bats and help with our research work for us to conserve them because of their ecosystem services. So I encourage every young person, especially the young biologists, to go into bat conservation research as well, because the Aurora has gotten to identify over 100 bats, but a lot more needs to be done for their conservation.
We don't only work with policymakers and take them on exciting batting expeditions. Our impacts and successes have relied heavily on listening to local people and incorporating the solutions they proffer. For example, in the next video, this farmer describes how they employ fire breaks in preventing wildfire.
The problem is for our side here, when you clear farm, you won't go put fire. You go clean the corner.
As a small local NGO, we at SMACON are very excited about the impact we're making by working with local people to deploy effective intervention strategies to save these two bat species and protect local livelihoods. We are very grateful to WCN for this opportunity to share some of the critical work that we do. We are also grateful to our donors, community members, partners, staff, volunteers, and students for the incredible support for nearly a decade. Please tell your friends and family. Join us to save the bats and protect our forests. Thank you.